I start with saying exercise is life, right? And how you exercise, what kind of exercise you pick is all what matters. Okay. But without, you know, when we were in maybe 100 years ago, we used to all exercise on a regular basis to get our food, go out into the farms and pick things up. But now we have luxury, right? We sit in front, we go to post match, or what is post it or Grubhub, or all of these things to get our food, which is easy, and we don't get exercise at all. When we exercise most of the time, this is just a fun slide. This is not what exercise is. We don't want the dog to exercise. Dog is getting enough, but how do you exercise? Next slide. So these are just facts, like how Nikki was mentioning some of the facts today. This is for your age group and your kids. The obesity rate has gone up. Obesity has becoming one of the epidemic. Thank God we are coming out of pandemic, but this is an epidemic which we worry about, because all this obesity causes people to have different diseases. And especially in your young age, not only diabetes is one of the things which we worry, blood pressure comes up. Young people are getting cancer nowadays because obesity does all those things to you. And biggest thing is your mental health. It affects your productivity, your self confidence when you're not exercising and you gain a lot of weight. Okay. And this also, I said, studies do show that when we gain weight, it is linked to psychosocial difficulties among youth. Next slide. So, what are the causes for weight gain, right? And what can you do to maintain this weight? Main cause is mindless eating, stress, and lack of activity. Okay. So, let's go to the next slide so we can talk a little bit about that. So, stress is a common thing. Knowing you guys growing up in this country, the stress levels are tremendous. You have to do such a high performance, not only study, but you have to have something you're doing like an activity, or you should be volunteering. You only have 24 hours on plate, right? But how do you navigate and be successful without you losing yourself, right? When you have a cell phone, you don't let the charge go down, right? You make sure that it's charged so it's functioning. And charging yourself and getting that battery charge is the key for your success. And that's called self care. Taking care of yourself, assigning time for your exercises, making sure you have food, which is right food, not just the DoorDash or your all these other apps you use to order your food. Okay, next slide. Cortisol. So this is the stress hormone which is high when we are under stress period. As you all know, when it's a little stress, like we need to finish a project or you need to get to your appointment, that's a good thing. That's a fight or flight response, which makes you go do that activity and take care of it. That's not dangerous at all. But sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times now we see we are in that stress phase constantly for long periods of time. When it's more chronic, we call it chronic stress level. Your cortisol is high all the time. You gain weight, okay? You will be having mood swings, you have increased anxiety, poor sleep, and then comes with all these other stuff because it suppresses immune system. Simple colds are hard to recover from because your immunity is not working for you. You develop all these skin changes because you're young, and acne, other skin cancer, skin stuff is more common. Not only that, your bones get weaker. Okay, next slide. So that comes to your benefits of exercise. So when we say exercise, it's not just like moving and it's a chore. You make it a priority. Do activities which gives a lot of fun for you. It helps with your weight gain, your mood improvement, decrease anxiety, and increase happiness. Okay, next slide. So this is just so that you are awake and having some laugh. Laughter is also good medicine. Okay, doctor said you needed more activity, so the wife is hiding the remote for the patient to look for around. Okay, um, next slide, please. So a lot of times, we all have an agenda we need to exercise, especially when it's a new year, everybody has an agenda. But most of the time, nobody sticks to those goals that I need to exercise. Only 8% of the people are engaged in regular exercise. 30 to 50% kind of participate, and most the dropouts within the next 20 to 10 to 20 weeks. Okay, so many people are entering the new exercise programs, but they don't stick to it or continue that as a lifestyle. Okay, next slide. So here comes the slides to talk about the exercise benefits, how much you need to do. Okay, and high intensity interval training is where you increase vigorous intensity, then you take a break with resting heart and you go up and you go. So I love the tabata style of high intensity, but in Bollywood music we still can use the same where you are high intensity, low, and you pick up the pace. So most of our programs are choreographed to that, and these exercises have shown that they do benefit with anxiety and improving your well-being. So that's important to understand the value of exercise in our life. Next. This is just a slide to show. I just want you to focus on this 25 to 39. Maybe you're not even 25 yet, or some of you. When you see people who are exercising, right, sufficient exercise are doing so well compared to inactive people developing all diseases like we are diabetes. When you're young, you think, diabetes. You develop something called glucose intolerance. Your sugars are borderline high, and that sets up inflammation in your body. So you will be, not you means like young kids will be getting conditions which are not great for their health when they're very young on. So in clinic, I see young patients around like 35, 40 years with cancers that has been all related to not taking care of themselves and being affected by obesity, lack of exercise, healthy nutrition, mind body medicine, and all of the above. Okay, so just being active, you see, uh, you improve tremendously your health and your well-being. Next slide. Okay, so what fits your busy schedule? Exercising an hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? Okay, it's 1 hour of your 24 hours. We all have the same time. Even the US president has only 24 hours. So make this a priority. Okay, next slide. This is just a cycle to show how people go up and down the weight. I love this one because you can see they are down here, but from starting Thanksgiving to all the way to December, this is amount of average weight gain for people. And then again, here comes Jan, when everybody wants to change and they want to have New Year resolutions and they go down. And it's like a yo yo cycle, right? So nothing consistent because people go up and down. Why? Right? That's where your awareness should come. This is all celebration with family and fun times, not for eating. We're born to live, not to eat. Okay, next slide. This is just again to bring a smile on your face because I'm not seeing your faces. So I hope you have a smile on your face. Most of the time we buy equipment, everything during New Year, and more time on treadmill, but it's for something else, or laundry. So here comes your prescription, right? And when we say you're exercising, see, this is for 18 to 65, and you belong to this group. Are you getting moderate, intense exercise for 30 minutes 5 times a week, or getting vigorous exercise like jogging for 20 minutes 3 times a week? Okay. Along with this one, you need to have some strength building exercises. How Nikki said, yes, when you pick up those weights, that's when you build your strength. Okay. So you need to have at least 8 to 10 exercises 2 times per week. Okay, you'll see some of that today when we do the fun activity. Okay, next slide. Okay. So when you don't use it, you lose it, right? So that's why it's important to not is this is not the only see a lot of times this is where my education I want to make sure you stick that fact into your mind. A lot of people think just running is my exercise. It's an aerobic exercise. It's not enough for you to stop your strength, which is your muscle mass. So, for your muscle mass to build up, you need to do some resistant training, which improves the strength by a range of 40 to 150%. Okay. And also increases the muscle fiber area by 10 to 30%. So bottom line, you want to do the strength training. You don't think you're young and I'm just going to run. You want to go to the gym and or join some classes which really work on your strength training. As you get older, when I say old, after 25 to 30, your body is already changing. Your balance goes away, your flexibility goes away. In fact, I'm more flexible in my house than because I'm at it constantly. So you'll have fewer falls, fractures, frailty, and sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is basically loss of your muscle. Okay. Okay, next one. So my workout is my mood changer. That's my famous quote. I love that one. Okay, you should be doing at least 3 to 5 days of workout. Maybe it's if you don't have enough time, make it vigorous, 20 minutes 3 times a week. And if you're doing like a slow pace, intense, at least 60 minutes, 20 to 60 minutes. Okay. You could do intermittent too, where you can go 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here. All that adds up to your 20 to 60 minutes. Okay, next slide, please. Exercise is therapy, right? It's cheaper than going to a counselor. If you're having any mood swings, depression, just exercise. Put some music and just move away. And that relieves your cortisol level so low, you will be so relaxing. And that's why exercise is therapy. At least 3 to 5 times per week with some strength training, which I was talking to you earlier about, minimum 2 or 2 times per week, and stretching 3 to 7 times days per week. So one thing I want to correct from the Nikki slides where she was presenting early. Stretching before exercise is not recommended. That was a wrong answer. Important to do before you warm up is gentle movement, which the muscles which you're going to work. We call it dynamic stretching. When you do regular stretching, which is holding, it's called static stretching. You hold the pose for a few seconds, minimum 20 to 30 seconds is the recommended stretching period for each muscle group. Okay, so when you warm up, you don't stretch. When you're warming up, you do a little movement along with all the dynamic stretches. Okay, we'll talk about that when I'm doing the exercise, so we can go from there. So intensity, it should be moderate to vigorous. You should have strength training. You should have a stretching program incorporated where you need to do almost every day, right? 3 to 7 days. Stretch and hold the point of tension and pain. And you wonder, why am I talking about stretching? When you just only do workout and workout and work, and your muscles are going to get tighter. And imagine a body, your bones are all lined up and your muscles are holding the bones. If I take all the muscles away, you are a stack of bones. So these muscles, when they're tight, where do they put pressure? Wherever there is the space, which is your joint. And that's why the joints get arthritic. I'm so surprised I see arthritis in 20 to 25 or 30-year-old people. It's because the muscles are so tight. So stretching should be part of our daily life. We don't need to be at a level of stretch where my leg is touching my head or I'm splitting fully, but at least I should have minimum. So you could Google what is the minimum level of stretching. So if you're bending over, you should be able to touch your palms without bending your knees. That's minimum. When you're sitting and reaching, you should be able to reach to your toes without bending your knees. So there are some minimum things. If you do that, you're good. Okay. Next slide. Okay, you already talked about it, right? Thinking about exercise or going to gym is going to only burn 0 calories. Okay, next slide, please. And this is another of my favorite slides. People think, oh, you know what? I don't need to exercise. I'm never going to lose weight. Doesn't matter. Or some people I have heard saying, I am good. I have no weight and, I don't need to exercise. But see the benefits. The relative risk of total mortality. This is a normal weight person. When they are unfit, they're still at high risk of problems. But where they're fit, they're reaping. So this is the unfit, sorry. Yellow is unfit. They have such high risk of mortality compared to when they are exercising. Overweight people, even though they're not losing weight, because weight loss is different in different people, they're still reaping the benefit of exercising. Obese people, same thing. They're still reaping the benefits. Next slide, please. So you don't need to, I hear that from my daughter because I told you, right? She's like your age group. She also keeps saying, I don't have time for exercise. But I keep telling her, do little bouts here and there. So she started incorporating that 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, go for a walk for 20 minutes. And that all adds up. Okay, next slide, please. Set your schedule, making sure that it's specific, right? You don't go for, appointments. See, you're here at 10 o'clock or early because it's scheduled on your calendar, right? So schedule it, make it a priority. And, it's basically like you eating your food, you're drinking your water, you're getting up for your school, or you're doing your project. That's how you schedule it because exercise becomes the last thing in every plate. Okay, it's like a marriage. You can't make it work if you cheat on it. Next slide, please. So, exercise is equal to endorphins, and endorphins make you happy. Moving body releases, um, not only lowers the cortisol, but it also releases endorphins and also the happy hormones, which causes less depression and more confidence, more productivity, more concentration, you reaching high in your life. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, your body is here a lot longer than your expensive head bag. This is my another favorite slide. Invest in yourself. Okay, thank you guys.